Hi there, my name is Scommander, and today I bring you a development video of my add-on Block Shuffle. As I'm creating this, it doesn't exist, so let's hope it goes well. I mean, if it doesn't, you won't be seeing this. So if you don't already know what that is, it's a minigame that was first posted on Dream's channel about 3 months ago. And basically, the way it works is, in chat, you're randomly given a block which you must stand on before the time is up. Whenever you stand on the block, the timer is reset and you must find another block. You usually play it against other players, but my plan is to make it single player as well, so you could just go on and play it yourself and see how far in you can get, how many blocks. So I guess let's get started and let's work out how I'm going to do this, because I've not thought about this. I think I'll be able to use a lot of my Deathswap add-on. I might be able to reuse a lot of the code from that, like creating a lobby in the sky and stuff. If you haven't seen the Deathswap Ultimate development video, I will put the iCard up there now. So I guess let's get started and let's see what we can do. So before I do anything, I'm going to make a copy of my previous Deathswap Ultimate add-on, just because I can reuse a lot of the code, so I'm just going to rename that to Block Shuffle. It doesn't really matter. There we go. Wow, that was quite easy. And then I can go in here, edit the manifest, and update all the information, change the pack icon. I'll design that later, but I'm going to start by going into the functions and seeing if I can kind of remove the stuff which won't be necessary. First point of business is to work out how I'm going to randomize the blocks which are chosen. Obviously there is so many blocks in the game, but I'm going to give each one which I want to be included a random ID. So just for example, we have 6 wheel blocks here, each with an ID from 1 to 6. So I can do a randomized command. There's a command which lets you randomly generate a number between a certain range. So I could say, hey, generate a random number between 1 and 6, and then whatever number is chosen will apply to that block. So I'm going to need to do it for every single block, but that should be okay. I'll just have one long file which basically has all the IDs and then it detects for each of the blocks. It's a little bit awkward to create, but it should be okay. It shouldn't be laggy or anything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a couple chests. I don't know how many I'll need, but I'm going to look through the inventory and take out each of the blocks which I'd like to be included and put them inside of the chest. And then at the end I can convert them all to have a unique number. Okay, wow, there is a lot of blocks in this game, so I've kind of picked some out. I've kind of kept them mostly to full blocks, maybe apart from like carpets and stuff. Like, I've not included every single block, but you can pause and see them all if you'd like. Some of them I decided were a bit too rare. Like, I've not made endstone one of them, because I feel like if you get that within your first 5 minutes, you're kind of a bit stuck. So, you know, I think this will be okay. I've just counted, that is 190 blocks. Oh my, this is going to take a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up probably Notepad++, and I'm just going to make a list of every single block ID, and I will be able to do some stuff with it. Okay, so all I'm doing here is I am getting every single block inside of the chest and making sure I have the correct ID for using /setBlock, because it's different in the name, so I need to be careful, because sometimes it has underscores, sometimes it doesn't. So as you can see, it's zooming away. I will skip to the end now. Okay, so I can confirm it's definitely not loaded because the function isn't actually appearing in the list. So that means I made a mistake on one of the IDs of the blocks. So this might take a little bit to work out. Wait, not all hope is lost. I forgot you could check the log, and it's actually telling me there is an issue with all the concrete powders. So I'm going to double check the ID. I'll see if I can do it now. Set block relative. Oh, it doesn't have an underscore. Okay, that's strange though. I'll change that and then hopefully it should work. So if I try to type the function now, if I run this, 243 function entries. Okay, it worked. Okay, so now we've got a file which has every single block, like block ID stored within it. So from there, I'm going to need to I think I might do it via a macro in Notepad++, which I'll show you. But I need to convert them all to IDs, so let's get at that. I don't know why I said I was going to use Notepad++, I was meaning Python, oops, but I'm basically just opening a file and basically giving it a unique ID for the score. So I'll show you. If I run that, it's whoever runs the function, it's going to execute at their position, and it's going to test if they have the score of 233. If they do, that means you are looking for a lit pumpkin, or if they had 230, it means you're looking for a bell. So each one of these blocks has a certain ID given to them, and that will be randomly generated. So whenever the player stands on the block which they need to, it will run a function to say, hey, you have found the block, and then it can do all the other stuff to make sure, hey, has anyone else found a block? If everyone else has found a block, okay, reset the timer and give a new block to everyone. So it's just stuff like that. I'm going to need to do something similar for actually making the block which you're supposed to find display in the chat, because I'm going to generate a random number between 1 and 242, and then for each one of those numbers I'm going to need to print in chat, your block is B. So if it generates the random number of 242, it has to print in chat, you are looking for mob spawner or whatever. I'll make sure the message looks nice in the chat, and I guess the next thing for me to do is to work out how I'm going to piece all this together. So I need to properly fix the lobby, maybe redesign it a little bit to make it a bit different from my Deathswap add-on, and change some of the scoreboards and stuff. So I think it'll be easier to explain once I've done that, because I don't really know my next steps right now. It's now the next day. Last night I spent quite a lot of time just kind of fixing and redesigning the lobby a little bit, so it's not too different, but I've got Blackstone. I've changed join to orange, because if you didn't know, orange is my favourite colour. A lot of changes have been made inside of the code, so I've basically removed anything that's related to Deathswap, but kept everything else. So right now I basically just have a lobby and a start button, which doesn't work, but everything else should be updated. I mean, there's still some things, like that still says Deathswap, and I haven't updated the credit game information thing, but the majority of it is kind of ready to go, so I can actually work on coding the stuff for the block shuffle game, like making sure it randomly selects a block, it randomly selects a block, and you can go and find it. So I'm going to see if I can do that now, and I'll give you an update. So I spent a long time converting all these block IDs into block names in this file. I just had to go through one by one and change them all, just so whenever it's printed to chat it doesn't look all weird. I don't want it to say that in chat because that would be weird. So yeah, it prints the correct colours and all that. I then used a bit of Python, hold on, let me open it, and I'm not going to go over it, but you can read it if you want, and basically I used it to generate these. Okay, so what I have here is I just have a function called print underscore block underscore chat. So this just gives me a message saying it's generating a number, and then this, I've not put that there, the max number is 240, so this generates a random number between 1 and 240, which is the maximum ID down here. And what it does is for each ID it prints in chat what the item is. There's a similar function called check block which does a very similar thing. It just goes through the ID and it checks if the block they're standing on matches, and if so it just runs a function to say found block, which will have different stuff in there, but this just to say found for now, so I can test it. So if I hop into the game and run this command, had to quickly leave and join the world because it needs to update all the functions, but yeah, if I run this, it generates a random number. You can see it's 233 in the scoreboard, and then it's also printed generated random number. However, nothing has been printed in chat, so that's an issue. I would have expected it to print whatever ID is associated with 233. Let me go and check. Now that is quite the typo. That should be a C and a K. That's a weird mistake. I'll quickly change that. I can just replace all instances of bluff shuff with block shuff. That's a weird mistake. But there we go. So now if I hop into the game, that's saved. Yep. And if I hop into the game and reload, if I run this now, okay, a different number 141, and it says in chat, Scommander 04 must find brown carpet. So if I run this, you can see it's randomly generating a block. So the next thing I want to test is I want to make sure whenever you stand on the block that it recognises it. So currently it's on gold block, that's the most recent one. So if I grab a gold block and place it and then run this command, it didn't work. Okay, I would have expected that to print to chat to say, hey, you have found gold block because your score is 64. Let me go and check what's causing that. Okay, it's a very similar mistake. I've just wrote 2 Fs, it should only have 1 F because the score... the reason it would make more sense if you had 2 Fs, but because you are limited on how long a scoreboard can be, I just changed it to block shuff so I can have bigger words at the end. So if I do that now, block shuff ID, then hop back into the game. Hopefully, if I do this... Oh, not quite, okay. Wait, I've done it here as well. That should all be block shuff as well, for the actual function. That's strange. It's silly mistakes. Sometimes it can take forever to track down. Okay, I've changed that. This time, come on. And then if I... Yes, okay, and then if I stand on a different block, it doesn't say found. But if I stand on that block, it says found. Let's do one more test. Let's run the function to generate a new block. Okay, it must be a composter if I get a composter and run the command while standing on top of it. Or I could probably just be inside it actually. Yeah, it works when I'm inside because I'm only checking like directly below the player and not a full block. So that's good to know. It gives that message whenever you are standing in a composter or standing on it, and it doesn't otherwise. So we can use that. That took a long time because it was just a lot of handwritten converting block IDs and converting the block IDs to names, but that's it. Okay, I can work on actually kind of setting up the system to manage if the game's ongoing or if it's stopping, or if there's only one player online, then I want to make it so if you miss it, that's when you die, but you're not going to instantly go into the game and then say you won because there's only one player left. If you're playing it single player, the idea would be that you just play it and then you die whenever you die, not whenever you've won the game. Still got a bit more work ahead of me, so let's get on to that. I'm still on the very early stages of getting this to work, but there's some things which are working now. So if I'm a spectator and I click the button, it won't be able to start because there has to be a player in the join team. But if I go into the join team and then I click the button, there's also a particle there now, and the sound effect. If I click the button, that's the chest, it happens. That's not the most convenient spot, but yeah, as you can see, I've been teleported around. I might need to fix this. And then currently it's saying swapping in 30 seconds. I haven't changed that yet, but currently there is a countdown you can see on the sidebar. I'll quickly skip to it. 3, 2, 1, bah. And then it gives a message to say, hey, you would be out at this point because you have not found your block, and then it would have to end the game. I've currently not set that up just yet, but if I run this function, that one, then it puts me back at the lobby, it resets everything. And yeah, I still need to change a lot of the messages in chat and stuff, but we're getting somewhere. Huzzah! Okay, this is quite exciting. I've just checked, it does definitely work. So if I just quickly start the game, it's telling me I must find cyan terracotta. So if I find that before the 15 seconds which I've set right now, and I stand on it, hapa, it says you found my block, and then it generates a new round, and it'll do that. But if I run out of time, so I'll just quickly wait. There we go, it says I'm out after the timer is done and I didn't stand on the block. Currently it just keeps going for testing, but whenever you're out you will be put back into the lobby. And yeah, it's exciting. Yeah. Okay, quick update. I wrote another Python script just so I could make it also appear in the action bar down there. I cannot do that, but you can see it. I'll zoom in. As you can see, it changes whenever your block changes. The good thing about it though is that it only actually pops up in your action bar every 2 seconds, so this hasn't been run 40 times every 2 seconds, because that would be unnecessary because the action bar stays for 2 seconds. So instead I've just got a timer which only prints to the action bar every 2 seconds, and it makes it stay there, which is good. Progress! Okay, I fixed it. I'm free. At this point, me and my friend hopped on to try it out, and there were so many bugs, so I've got a lot of work ahead of me, but I can do it! I can't believe I wanted to get this done in a day. Like, what was I thinking? It's a lot more complex than I imagined, but it's fine, it's all good. Although, just to kind of show you what I'm dealing with right now, I've got, how many files here? Let's find out. We've got 28 files! Oh my! And like, some of them are like really long like this, and then some of them are a bit shorter, but oh, my head. I don't even know how I've managed to get 28 files, that's insane. It's one add-on. Okay, it's now the next day. I spent like 2-3 hours last night trying to squash some bugs. I think most of them are gone. I also added a couple new features. So here we have a chest because it's empty. If I was to start the game, the chest doesn't get cloned to my position because it's empty. However, if I was to put a stone pickaxe in the lobby and then start the game, the chest gets cloned and it has the thing inside it, so that's good. I think I might make it so whenever the chest has been emptied, that it disappears. In fact, you know what, I'm going to do that right now. Unfortunately, after looking into it further, I don't think that's possible, because on Bedrock it doesn't let you compare 2 blocks inside of a function. If it was just a command block and we could have a comparator coming out, that would be fine, but because it's all within a function, you can't do that, so slight limitation. Oh well, I don't think that's a huge thing. It's just, you'll get a chest. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. Wait, my brain just did a thing. I did a thing. Okay, so if I put that all in, right? So that's that all in there. If I then start the game. Yes, okay, what I'm doing there is I am setting the chest and filling it with air and destroying the block. Then I'm killing the trap chest item which falls on the floor. So whatever you put in the chest will just be given to you. It doesn't need to be taken out of a chest or anything. I don't know why I didn't do that from the beginning. I didn't think of that. After this, I thought it would be good to get my friends back on again to try to bug test. They managed to come on and bugs were found, but it was working a lot better. There's one bug which specifically kind of caught me off guard, so I'm going to show you about that one. You may be very confused about what you're seeing right now, but I was basically doing some testing with the spread players command because I was having an issue whenever you click the start button. Sometimes the game wouldn't like spread you around. The reason I went to check the spread players is because we're surrounded by water and you can't be spread onto water using that command. But as you can see, there is blocks all around here, so let me show you what this command does. This command blocks just executing an armor stand at the position of 0, 0, and the minimum radius should be 60 and the maximum should be 128, and then this is just setting a block wherever it ends up getting spread. So unless it's different or I've totally forgot how to use spread players, it seems like the minimum radius doesn't work, and sometimes it can fail entirely, so if it tries to spread a player onto ocean, it just won't work. So my plan to fix this is to have a function which, instead of using the spread players command, instead it will randomly generate an X and Z value, and then it will randomly like teleport the player like within a certain radius. So I'll kind of show you what I'm doing because I think it's kind of hard to explain and it might be interesting. I've currently got it set up so it randomly puts me on an X coordinate between a minus 128 and minus 40, or 40 and 128. So all it's doing is it's teleporting me into the sky, giving me a random number between 0 or 1, that's so it can know if it's going to generate a negative or it's going to generate a positive. Generates within that range or that range, and then this does the posx or negx command depending on if that number is negative or positive. So let's say it generates the random number of 60. So that's more than 0, so posx will get run if I go into here. In short, this just teleports the player to whatever random number they were given. So if they were given the number 60, they would be put on x equals 60, and this does all that, just like magic. Wow. I'll do the same thing for the z-axis and I will show you in game, assuming it works. Okay, I'm back in the game. If I reload the functions, there seems to be an error. Let me go and check. I just forgot there were new functions, so I had to reload the world, but now that that's done, if I run this command, I should get randomly spread within like a radius of spawn, the maximum being 128 and the minimum being 40. And it seems to be working pretty well, doesn't it? Hey! Obviously we don't want the players spawning in the sky, so I've got this function which basically tests for air below the player. If so, it teleports them down 1, and then it goes, okay, if they're still there, let's do it again, and it does that all within 1 tick using a like recursive function. Now, what this does mean is that it could spread you onto a block which does damage, so what I've done is water is fine, because if you're in water you just spawn in and you're fine. But if it's lava, just below you, like a 3x3 area of obsidian is placed below you, just so you're safe and you don't instantly spawn in lava, because that wouldn't be fun. I just hopped into another game to see if everything was working properly, but it looks like some blocks aren't being detected properly, specifically the ones with the IDs, so I've probably like put the wrong ID for one of the blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the scoreboards one by one and change them between 1 and 240 and just check every block works, because I really want to put this out and just have it work. I don't want it to have bugs, because bugs are bad. Okay, after going through every single block, it turns out the only one that wasn't working was the 6th one. Although, I guess this is a good overview of all the blocks. I didn't check every single type of glass pane and coloured thing, because I know they work, I've tested them loads already. So, out of the unique blocks, these are all of them. Ta-da! Just to show that I fixed the spread players, if I click the button, kapow! I have been spread and it's all good. I've filled the spread radius in with lava, so wherever you see lava, that is where you could be spread. I've just mainly done this to test if it would set obsidian, just to make sure you don't die. So if I were to click this button, hopefully it works. Yes, okay, it sets obsidian, so, I mean, well, if this happens, then you're a bit stuck, but that's not going to happen. So it means if there was a lava lake or something, you wouldn't just instantly start dying. Please, 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 please. Why? That one bug ended up taking me like 3 hours to solve. What you're seeing here is a very sped up time lapse of me trying to create the thumbnails and pack icons for everything. I will quickly show you them once they're all done, which will be in a 3, a 2, a 1. This is going to be the thumbnail for this video. Down here we have the pack icon. It's quite simple, but this is what's going to appear inside of the behavior pack menu inside of the game. And then here we have the thing for MC Pedal. An interesting thing, by the way, is see on MC Pedal, at least on my phone, it only shows this area when you're scrolling through on the app, so I've just made sure all the important information is within that area. But yeah, that's pretty much all of that. I still need to do a thumbnail for the actual showcase video, but that's not going to be included in this because I'm going to do that after I have released the development video. So I've just imported the pack icon into the game. As you can see, it's got these arrows now too, with like a blue and black drop shadow. I think that looks quite cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look over the code. I'm going to see if there's minor changes I want to make or not anything really noteworthy, and then I'm going to upload it onto MC Pedal and I will show you that because you might find that interesting too. So before I can upload the file, I need to convert this behavior pack called Block Shuffle into a .mc pack. So to do that, I just need to do this, add to blockshuffle.zip. Here we go. Then all I need to do is rename it to .mc pack at the end instead of .zip. Block Shuffle version 1.0.0 Block Shuffle Ultimate. Yes. Ta-da! And now I can import that into the game. Imports. It did fail because I've already got it imported, but that's good to know, it means it works. So I can just upload that file onto Mediafire and get started on writing all the documentation on MC Pedal. We're currently at the point where on my Discord you can download it. What? Totally join the Discord. If you find any bugs or anything, let me know and I'll try to fix it before I upload it to MC Pedal, and if not, I'll update it. But I'm pretty sure that's everything I need to do for the development video. Everything's been tested, everything's done, everything's complete, everything I want to include is now included. So that's it. So, you know, if you enjoyed this video, do all that YouTube stuff, subscribe, like, comment. These type of things take so long to make and so much of my brain energy. Feel free to join the Discord, link in description. And another thing, I will be hosting a Block Shuffle tournament. I will put the information up on the screen right now. Hapa, Sunday 26th of July, 2 PM BST. Hope to see you at the event. Just join the Discord if you're interested, and I will see you. Bye!